it's sometimes, isn't it a threat that, the way the AI is transforming, like, what worries you the most?
So for technology companies or for traditional companies that are using technology, we are at the core of the development of these technologies, right? We are powering, enabling the usage of these technologies and how they use it. But it's interesting because we are powering both. We are powering the AI disruptors in Silicon Valley, but we are also powering the more traditional companies of the world that are starting to use AI. The perspective is quite unique. In Microsoft, I was more working on how to use data, AI, and analytics to drive processes and to change the way you do things, right? And here, I'm more at the core of the technology, on how you build technology, really at the core. The type of technology that is gonna come in the next months, but also the next years, is crazy. I mean, it's already out of the normal thinking that we have. So we're gonna see a lot of automation in many of the things that we do manually today, and that's spanning across.
Today, our guest is a global tech leader who has scaled businesses across continents, built high performing teams, and guided founders at the edge of innovation. Rafael Santiago. He's a global SVP at JFrog, ex Microsoft director who led operations across Asia from India, China to Japan, Korea, and Australia, also Singapore. He's also a startup founder and trusted advisor at Trevor, if I'm not wrong. And he's also a mentor and a coach. But beyond his titles, I know Rafa, he's a leader who brings clarity in chaos. And I'm so glad, Rafa, that you are here. And let's begin with something simple but powerful, Rafa. And like, I would like to understand how do you introduce yourself beyond the LinkedIn version? Who are you at the core, Rafa?
At the core. That's a question, right? Well, I suppose I'm a human. I'm a very humble person. A very strong sense of purpose, mission, and dedication to people. Right at the end is what really matters. Father, three children, one wife. Now living in Spain, as you said, very global. I've been around the world, Latin America, North America, across Europe, and
Wow.
Indonesia, which was my last role. Um, what else? Sport person, but also having or dedicating time to myself and to my friends and family. So I have this duality of a very extrovert on the one hand side, but a very introvert. So it's a kind of an interesting duality on my personality.
If we go back to the time, like, back then, what was the first step you took that moved you from being a strong individual contributor to being seen as a leader? Like, yes, you have those qualities and you want to do something of that sort.
I think going into leadership is not like you don't look for it. I mean, it comes naturally, So when I started my career, I was again more on the vision. I started a startup myself with a colleague. We programmed kind of Tinder at that time. Is 1998 before Facebook,
Oh,
with pictures, of course, very bad quality pictures, and with something that I think Tinder has, but doesn't have the same way we were thinking, which was uh, Tinder or making friends, because it was not oriented to like
okay.
couple necessarily, right? But it was friends and yeah, whatever. But basically had a location component. So basically, when you were close to a person that was of your interest, you exchange emails. At that time, were SMS, right, with a link to the other person and giving the location of the other person and getting you in contact of. So that was the idea. I was in the fourth course of electrical engineer. It took us like 18 months more or less to get that done. But that was kind of very innovative for that time. It didn't exist, right? Something like such an application. Um, and from there, it came the dot-com crisis. It was the 2000s, and everything stopped. We didn't move on. The people that were interested said no, we are not going to invest on the. We were going to do a launch in Latin America, by the way, with all the application, and that didn't fly. So I decided like to jump into business. Like there's a lot of people talking about technology without knowing technology, and I think that's one of the biggest problems we may have at that time. So I decided to jump into business, and got into management consulting. So that's what I did during the first 13 years of my career.
It is, I believe, as a leader, it is so important, like, stepping into leadership. I was in IC and, starting your own and having people who are working with you. You feel responsible for their future as well, right? Because how you're shaping them, that also matters a lot. Um, this is what I feel, along with what is the vision, what is the culture, the mission, what are the targets, what are the numbers, but how are the people doing who are working with you? Did you feel that, that's a kind of core and very challenging responsibility back then versus now, the entire journey, how it has shaped your leadership?
I don't think it's challenging. I think it's part of life. Like if you take care of your people, the people will take care of your business, basically. So that's easy. It's very transactional, and it sounds very transactional, but it's true. I mean, if you really care about them, their lives, their growth, their future, you bring clarity to people. It's very important. There's a lot of
Yeah,
cheating in the system. I would say people that uh, want to grow in one direction, and the manager is, yeah, if you do that, maybe you get there. No, yeah, there's a lot of false commitments in both sides, not only on the manager or the leader. I think honesty, people need to trust you, right? And what you do. If they don't trust you and they don't think that you are gonna really take care of them, and that you are gonna be also tough whenever you need to be tough and they are not doing well, and you are gonna coach them tough in the sense of coaching, no, like not everything is always good and always is fantastic. You need to be also very very clear when things are not in the right course. You need to help people to get into the right course, and that means to get them right, no, and coach them so they think different situations. Sometimes you need to take direction, which is the part that when the people is very junior, you need to take part of the change of direction. But when the people is very senior, you just need to coach them and make them think what is the right way to get into the right direction, right? Which is a completely different approach. So it depends. It's situational. Charisma. It's not one off. That's something I also seen over the years, that some people just do the same whatever the situation they have in front of them. Like it's the same. Like they act the same. They have their written book and they go with their book. No, and I think the way you need to think about it is you need to write the book depending on the situation, the context, and the people or the person that you are talking to, right? And that's what makes you a good leader, to understand every. And I don't like the word leader, a good manager or a good driver, no, like that's what makes you good
the
versus bad.
serving part.
When you are good on understanding the context, understanding the situation where the person is, and helping that person go moving forward, right? Or the group, it can be a group of people.
Like, out of the work, I also wanted to know that you have worked across so many countries. Was there any place or any country where you felt there are office politics and, felt really it is strong? How did you handle it and what did you learn about yourself during that time?
Well,
The office politics.
politics of the organization in the country, you mean?
I would say the politics of organization in the country. Yes.
On the
There are
country.
so many countries. Yeah.
Well, at the end, look, in my view, the culture is extremely important, but people is the same at the end. At the end, right? Not at
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. So there are different motivate. So the motivations, the core motivations, the human core motivations are normally the same across
Okay.
countries. What is different is the way they act and express those motivations, right? Which is that's the code that you need to decipher in every culture. So that's what I meant before on how do you adjust to every situation. And that's the trap of working with global teams. That's one of the biggest trap, that if you are not really learning or trying to understand every person's situation, you might fall on the trap of thinking or doing your own playbook with that situation, that context, that person, or that group, and you are not reading, you are not understanding the real motivation or the real situation. You derail, right? And that happens a lot. I think I think that the only way is to really adjust, to really adjust your way of doing to what the situation you are seeing, knowing that the motivations are the same at the end. But you need to find out what are those. They are not visible. At the end, you need to decipher. When I was leading Japan for 9 months, when I took over the operation of Japan, like imagine it's 100, almost 100 sellers, 7 managers, a business that was not doing well, was really challenging. Um, and Japanese with their culture. Japanese are not used to express where they are, how they feel, what they want to do, but they are humans. That's what I thought. I thought that they are humans. They are Japanese, but they are humans too, right? And it was true. My assumption played to be true again. So they have a big cultural code that you need to decipher. In the meanwhile, I could not decipher in 10 months all the Japanese culture, but working with them, trying to understand more and understand more.
Oh
It,
my God.
it took me a lot. It took me 3 months to understand what was really going on. Um, and the first weeks were about talking about their families, how they feel. They were not very open again. So it took me a lot to break through. But after 3 months, they were starting to tell you what was really going on the business,
Oh,
what really going on. And we was the second, let's say, segue was, okay, now that we know, what are we going to do? Because normally in Japan, they will tell you, okay, you tell me, you are the manager. Like, I have no idea. You are the director, you are the manager. You tell me how to do, I will do it. But that was not the intent either, because you don't know the market. So if you do a decision yourself, like, yeah, okay, let's go for, I don't know, the financial sector, mid market, and we're going to do it through partners. Imagine, right?
okay.
Wrong, probably wrong. Your chances of success are one every 10 or 20. Maybe you hit the right nail and you are successful, but maybe you are not. So what I asked them then is, okay, now how are we going to do that?
Okay.
We need to build a plan. What is the plan? You guys are the owners of the business. How are we going to get there? I can help you. I can give you methodology from other countries, from other things that I've seen around the world, but I'm completely sure that those things won't work exactly as they are in Japan. You will need to adjust. How are we going to, what are the problems we have? No, that was the first thing. And second, what are the solutions? What are the different alternatives, the options? What are the best practices that we can import and put in those options? So we were coming with some knowledge, so not building anything from scratch, and then make the right decision and the right call. Okay, these options, what is the right one? This one. Okay, good. Why? Analyze why and how. Again, implementation is normally more important than the decision on what is the direction to take. The direction is to be good. Don't get me wrong. If the direction is wrong, going to somewhere else, right? That's important. But the evil is on the details. Is how you get to there, to where you want to go is really difficult, right? It's really the challenge, and that requires systematic execution. So they came up with a plan. It was not one solution. They came with an Excel. I still remember that Excel with all the accounts they were gonna focus, what a specific workload they were gonna play in that account, with which department persona, and who was the Microsoft person in that was gonna go after that opportunity, and they were tracking that weekly. It was a gigantic Excel, and they were executing that, and they succeeded. They got into the budget at the end of the year, which honestly, um, when they gave me the assignment, I was like, wow, this is going to be really difficult. And they are still performing. Of course, something of that will stay, but I suppose many other things have changed since then.
How do you spend time, like, with yourself in a way that to understand you yourself better or what's there within better? Like, do you do something like morning routines or night routines to keep your mind calm, to be sorted, or to be focused, or to be in a specific direction which drives you towards growth, which is good for you?
I don't have a routine as such. It's more, for me, it's more like when something happened that you didn't expect to happen, or that you don't like, or that you don't feel like is right, or whatsoever, a situation that you didn't enjoy, or that was not ideal. I reflect after, like, hey, what happened there? What was the problem? Why do you react like that? What is driving you in that direction? There's a lot of people that mainly know that the people just get all those situations into a backpack, and they accumulate, and at some stage the backpack just explodes,
Oh,
and they enter into different situations. So I think it's good to have some self-reflection, and of course, as others, also be very humble to ask other people, like, hey, in this situation, do you think, or how do you see the situation? Like, because sometimes your filters, your eyes are telling, or your brain is telling you one, that things happen one way, but it's not the right way. And you have false positives. So you need to be careful. Sometimes you cheat yourself. And that's also dangerous. Yeah. So sometimes you need to do some self-reflection instead of putting on the backpack, and try
it,
to think through it.
how that it's sometimes, isn't it a threat that, the way the AI is transforming, like, what worries sometimes, what worries you the most about what AI can do, and or not about what AI can do, and but what we might forget along the way. It's when you see the transformation, how do you perceive that, how it will transform completely, and what the business or the founders should uh, think about when they are starting something, or when they are in middle of growing?
Well, I
What
think,
are the things?
look, I'm in a privileged position now because our technology is powering the core of these technologies, right? So for technology companies, or for traditional companies that are using technology, we are at the core of the development of these technologies, right? We are powering, enabling, this the usage of these technologies and how they use it. But it's interesting because we are powering both. We are powering the AI disruptors, in Silicon Valley, but we are also powering the more traditional companies of the world that are starting to use AI, right? And we do it through binary. So the perspective is quite unique. In Microsoft, I was more working on how to use data, AI, and analytics to drive processes, and to change the way you do things, right, in business. Here, I'm more at the core of the technology, on how you build technology, really at the core. And the use cases, I can tell you the customers that I met a couple of weeks, but are crazy. I mean, the type of technology that is gonna come in the next month, the next months, but also the next years, is crazy. I mean, it's already out of the normal thinking that we have. So we're gonna see a lot of automation in many of the things that we do manually today, and that's spanning across anything is going to be powered by technology. So for technology companies, is how you are going to disrupt or how you are going to get active in that new ecosystem that is just building up in the marketplace. I think that's the question. No, what is your role
Yeah.
in that transformation, and what is unique that you are going to bring into the marketplace, and how are you going to become that uniqueness is going to come to the market, because you need to get into the right ecosystem to be successful. So that's the other part. So I think we are in an amazing time, from the level of disruption, the level of transformation that we are going to see in the next few years. And those of us that I think are very fond on the technology, that we understand really well the technology, but we also understand how the market is going to adopt, how the customers, how the channel, how that technology is going to mainstream, let's say. I think we are in a unique position to help shape the new future, right? In a way. So I feel privileged about that.
That's great. Is is there any you were saying they're building crazy stuff, something you would like to share, like, what are the problems they are solving, or one of the problems, this is something we are coming up with
I
that
cannot tell you the specifics, because the information they share with us
is
because
confidential.
it's under NDA, but they share with
Ah, it was
because
just curiosity.
them. But
I can understand.
we are doing that because, as I said, we are powering at the core of their transformation, which is amazing. That we, as a vendor, as a technology provider, we are part of their core development. The way they need to explain you what they do and they are gonna do in the future, because you are an
And that's
enabler.
what, so that's where you played a role, where you strategize in terms of how the execution is going to go from like, this is a particular A to B, and how, in which phases it's going to go. That is something which you help them with, the customers.
Well, they know. Look, they know what they are gonna do. I'm speaking
How?
of the technology leaders in the market, right? They know where they are going. The question is how we're gonna
How?
them,
Exactly.
right? That's what our technology enabled them, is to manage the binaries, the code that powers AI, basically. How you make that secure, efficient, scalable. They are very focused on a scale. We are talking of millions, billions of users or machines using that code, and that code needs to compile, need to run, need to scale at that speed, right? At that requirement. So that's where we play a role, and that's why they share with us what they are doing. But not
At
because
JFrog.
they're they are. This is the top-notch projects in the world right now, I would say, and
Oh,
it's
I
really
completely
amazing.
completely understand. And that's what JFrog helps in terms of, like, at that level.
Exactly.
Apart from that,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Apart from that, Rafa, do you also help different founders, like, in terms of advisory or mentoring or coaching?
Yes, yes, completely. Look, my challenge is getting into very small companies is very challenging for me to do it in a sustained way.
Yeah,
I don't have time, and I would love to help, founders that are starting now, give them advice and so on. No, my problem is time, but definitely I'm working more with more established, or let's say, technology companies. I'm trying to do my best within the time I have and the commitments I have. I try to do my best to help, but my span of time is really limited.
I can completely understand. I mean, I believe at Faber also you give a bit of time for the advisory and then completely as an SVP over here. Uh, uh, it, okay, just a curiosity about uh, who do you usually mentor or coach? And that's what I read about you, that you mentor and coach also. So who are these speakers and what draws you to you do those speakers?
Depends. It's from students, people that is
Oh,
trying to think what they are going to do in life, or what they are going to,
ah,
from people that is um, looking for a change, a job, that is more professionals that are in the midst of doing something different, something new, to founders, owners of technology, of businesses, boards that are, as I said, in this transition of how we're going to do, how technology is going to be in the future for me, for my company, for my business, no, and help them and make the right questions and get to the right answers. So it's a variety of people, right? Or people that just want to see how to scale globally. For example, remember in Singapore, when they were asking me, the founder and his leadership team, how to expand their operations in Asia. Do they establish offices in Singapore? Do they establish offices in different countries in Asia? How do they do that? No, and what are the opportunities? What are the challenges? Do they work with the vendors? Do we work with a specific customers? Do they hire account executives? So yeah, it's one example, and they did it finally, and they are successful. It's interesting how people move on.
that's great. That's great. Lefka, just last question before we have our rapid fire which we are going to have. Um, I just wanted to ask about the partners, right? Like, when we were back then in Microsoft, we used to feel that sometimes we are not having good partners or partners who knows certain things. It was hard to find a good partner and all that. But on the other side, what I see is there are so many partner companies who want to, who would like to work with Microsoft, or they have amazing solutions and all those things or services which they can provide. What is the gap which you see that, unable to find the partner and partners unable to get in touch of us? Like, is it has to be in a certain process, or has there been a point where a partner company has connected with you where they have not done any projects, but the services were really good and uh, it made
Yeah,
its way? Like how it can work? Yeah.
the Microsoft specifically is doing different things and different changes in the last few years on their partner ecosystem, right? And how do they deal with partners? Um, look, I think the right way of looking at this is, there are customers that have needs, and there are partners that solve those problems, right? For the partners, the difficulty is to find who are the vendors that they work with to solve the problem of the customer, right? Because they are at the end, they are intermediaries, or they triage between the customer and the vendors to bring the right solution for each customer. The challenge, or the opportunity, is that, how do you know all the opportunities in the vendors, all the technologies, to build the right solution for that customer, right? So you need to know a lot of technologies to do that. And partners normally work with more specific vendors, right? More than with all the vendors. Um, that's one of the difficulties, no? Like how you get how deep you imagine just in the cloud. I work with AWS, Azure, and GCP. Being very deep in these three cloud vendors it already requires a lot of resources and a lot of time invested. So it's really not efficient, maybe, to have that many people focus on those three vendors, because then you are able to serve customers. So the way normally people work is the other way around. They say, okay, customer, which is your preferred vendor? This one. Okay, good. Then I'm good on that, or I need to train my people on that. No, so it's a kind of a matching game that is very challenging for partners. How partners get to a vendor and solidify, let's say, a relationship takes a lot of time, especially with one of these big vendors. Some vendors are more open and focused on hiring partners, recruiting, and some others are more established. They have their channel, and yeah, they're open but not so open, no, in reality. So I think it's very complex, the scenario, and how that matching works is difficult, I would say, for the partner, for the vendor, and even for the customers. When you ask customers, that's why customers normally do the other way around. They look at the smart customers, I would say, like you have your own look at the technology stack. You are trying to source some technologies, and you look at the vendors that are out there, not the partners, and you say, okay, for this technology, for this solution, I think these are the three best vendors. I'm going to ask them to present or to have an RFP, RFI, whatever, to bring information on what you guys do. And then they look at the solutions and say, okay, this looks good. Which are the partners that can help me with that? Is one of the partners that is in my house. So it's difficult because the customer also has a history, has a background, has a technology, and to adopt new with existing, you might have an existing partner incumbent, and you need a new partner. Maybe it's not the same. All that is complexity. All that is risk. All that is probability of things going wrong at some stage. So it's quite complex, Charisma. The question you made is wide, wide, wide in
Very
many.
wide. For any growing startup, like, they have amazing services, and how do they network? I would say, what should be the first step? For me, I feel that it is very much important to have that brand visibility for yourself, because any other company, if you are going to step up, and if any partner comes to you, Rafa, any partner, okay, they have amazing services, they are saying, what is the first thing which you will be checking on?
What do you
If
do
you
different? What do you do different from the others? What is unique? What do you really, really do different? What are your specialized on that is nobody is, or very few people is? And what do you really do very well? And where? And what is your capacity to deliver that? Those are my basic questions, no? Like how many
but
people
even
have? Yeah.
even to ask that basic question, someone is doing a cold DM to you that, they have amazing services and all those things. What is the first instinct? Like, what is the first thing you'll do to even respond to that person?
To if they sorry, I didn't understand the question. They have all the services.
If the services are there, if the partner company is really strong, services are there, they have not yet come into the market, they don't have the testimonial, or maybe they have the testimonial, okay, consider that.
Well, then they
Uh,
demonstrate.
they
Then
message you,
they need to
they message you.
if they think they have a technology or they have something unique, they need to demonstrate. I suppose they will have an MVP, or they have a basic product that they can bring into the marketplace. So they need to bring that MVP and demo it. Like, hey, this is what we build. This is how we build it, and this is how it works. We haven't been successful yet, but I think to be successful, the MVP is not enough. You need to sell the MVP to one customer or three customers to become it valuable, because till it's proven. I mean, you can have an MVP, but the MVP needs to be proven, needs to be in the market to become a product, and it needs to be adopted by someone using it to basically prove that it works and that it helps in something. That's when you have something that you can resell or sell to others. No, it's a product or a service that you have done for someone or for a few, ideally a few, that can be replicated to other people. I think that that's critical. If you only have an MVP, you are in a earlier stage, which is good. There's nothing wrong. Your next step is to sell it, not to productize and to scale. That's what I think.
And to sell it also, what are the important things to do, like offline connecting, or you have to showcase it outside also what you're doing?
Well,
Isn't the visibility very much important?
you need to find a customer that you solve a problem for the customer and is willing to pay for it. It sounds very basic. I know it's that like an MBA course one, but you need to find someone that is willing to pay for what you have, and that thing that you have solve that problem or that need for that customer at that price. That sometimes is the biggest problem. Like you build something and you don't know what is the price and what problem you are solving. There's other people that start with the problem and they build something to solve the problem, right? But that's a more mature approach. But some founders just start with, hey, I came with this idea. I don't know if it would be useful. I suppose it would be useful, right? But I don't know. And what is the price? I have no freaking idea. I mean, like I need to do market research, or I need to find someone that pays something for this and come out with that. So look, you see a lot of scenarios in the world of people like figuring out how to market an MVP, right? It's fascinating.
But marketing is so much needed, I believe. That is like, selling, yes, but showing yourself on all your media, social medias, I would say, be it LinkedIn, be it your website, it has to tell that story too.
I'm not a believer of marketing. I think marketing is really useful when you are in the scale stage, but when you are in the productizing and you are creating your product, you need to build a very good product that solves a very big problem, or have or address an opportunity, right? Real. If you come with something really really good, you will sell it.
How do you? Okay. As in,
You will sell it. It's easy. I mean, if you create something
out of
amazing
the box.
out of the
Okay.
box, that you create, imagine a new model AI that is brutal for I don't know, cancer detection. You solve the cancer problem in the world with your AI model. You don't have a problem with marketing. You just need to go to the hospitals or to the Ministry of Health and say, "Hey, I have this machine that basically solved the cancer problem in the world." It's gonna be very straight to sell that product, right? You are solving a product that a lot of people is suffering in the world. You will get, you know, that you will start getting offers immediately for your company, right? Then marketing, yeah, that's the scale engine. No, when you maybe are not talking to the government or to the hospital that is near you, but you talk to all the hospitals in
Yeah,
the world, right? That's marketing. That's when you bring the message across. But you need to have a good product first. That's always the first thing.
got it, Rafa. Yeah, that's all, Rafa. And just we'll do a little bit of rapid fire. I would love to know which book is your favorite book, which can help a lot of people also. Which one you will recommend people to watch?
Um, I like a lot Alice in Wonderland. It's a classic, but I have a lot of learnings from life from Alice in Wonderland.
Okay. If you weren't in tech, what completely different career you would have crushed?
Um, I like to fly, so yeah, I would probably be a pilot. I think
Wow.
that's something I enjoy. I don't know if today I will do that, but exploring
Back
places
then,
I like. Yeah, something like that.
in maybe after this life, for sure, in next life, maybe.
Who knows?
Or you can start. Who knows? Your purpose in one sentence.
My progress in one sentence.
Purpose.
Okay. Mm, have fun, enjoy. Have a great life, great experience. Make the most of yourself. I would say be the best version of yourself every day.
Which is so important because most of the time people take stress, but stress is the thing which delays everything. If you're being happy, then things comes to you.
Completely.
Yeah, yeah. One daily habit that changed your life forever.
one daily habit that exercise. I think to keep your mind clean, you need to do exercise. You need to get your body exercise, have a good diet, take care of yourself in general. It's a good habit.
That's great. Yeah, completely agree with it. The moment I've stepped into things which are going crazy for me, every morning I work out. That is the first thing I do, which keeps me energetic. I don't know, but for me, first of all, thank you so much, Rafa. What made you say yes to this for the podcast?
What is the toughest?
What
No.
made you say yes for this podcast? You are so humble and kind.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, I mean, mentor, coach, you were saying, and I see, and there are a lot of people I approach, to be honest, the same way, positions and all. But when you say that, the ego and all comes with the position, it did feel that way. But
Mhm.
I'm so glad that you, out of the blue, you said yes, and it means a lot. Rafa. I mean, it shows the kind of person you are, what you write, and how you are, and I'm really glad for that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Karishma. Many times.